Joel, how big is this announcement here today? I mean, influx of new district attorneys coming into the state of Wisconsin. I mean, what does this mean for the public?
Well, it means that in 56 of Wisconsin's 72 counties, there are going to be more tools for law enforcement and the people who are on the front lines of public safety through new assistant district attorneys. And they are really at the ground level, on the ground floor of doing innovative things that help keep people safe, but also spend our resources as wisely as possible and make sure that we're doing the innovative, creative things that can have long-standing impact to make people feel safe, but also do right by the people in the correction system.
Yeah, because I mean, you see it all the time. You see these cases; they're logged up. You know, you go months and months without updates in some of these cases. I mean, some of these high-profile cases, you're waiting for updates. I mean, is that something that, come the next year or so, we can start seeing things moving a little quicker?
I think that's an effort that every individual district attorney around the state in every county has as one of their objectives of clearing that backlog. But oftentimes, as you heard today, the problem there is simply the overwhelming caseload that the assistant district attorneys have. And so I think this will be one area, if you're increasing the number of assistant district attorneys by a third, as you are in a couple of the offices here, that will allow them to have more time dedicated and more priority. But because in those cases where there is a significant backlog, that's not good for the people who perpetrated the crime and their need for speedy due process. It's not good for the victims. It's not good for our system. And so we have to do everything that we can to make sure that resources are being spent in the right way.
So then just exactly how is that going to happen with this? I mean, is it just the principle of there's more people to do the work?
Yeah, and in fact, the way that these were allocated were based on caseloads that the district attorney's offices have around the state, but also diversion programs that have been created and the innovative work that's going on. Because one thing that people probably understand intuitively is that some of the solutions to our overwhelming problems here on public safety are complex. And so if there are diversion programs, if you're going to set up OWI courts or veterans courts or a number of other things, those are a little more complex than just your standard booking for other crimes. And so there needs to be more time that's going to be associated with some of those more creative solutions. And so it stands to reason that with more people committed to that, with more bodies, there'll be opportunities to be more innovative in the way that we attack those problems too.
That kind of leads me into my next question. And you mentioned it a little bit. Some of the Republicans are saying that they feel like their work was ignored. The way some of these were allocated, the book was kind of thrown out, that was vetoed, and then all of a sudden we have a different way of doing it, which was, of course, announced today. I mean, is that politics in general coming out of Madison?
I said it earlier. It's only in the strange world of the Republican majority in the Wisconsin legislature where counties like Monroe County that gained an assistant district attorney, or Manitowoc County that gained an assistant district attorney, that there's a claim that they lost in this. And I think if we're going to have statewide solutions when it comes to corrections reform, if we're going to have statewide solutions when it comes to public safety, they're going to include the whole state. And the Republicans have oftentimes tried to pit the urban areas against the rural areas, and sometimes they've done it successfully. But if we're going to have solutions that are statewide, it's going to include everybody statewide. And the innovative solutions are not just going to come from the urban areas, they're not just going to come from the rural areas, they're going to come from how we find commonality in those places. And so what the governor did in looking at this and what he instructed the department to do was to look at those places that have innovative and creative solutions that, as I said, take more time, and in addition to the caseload and other factors, to make sure we come up with a way that we can attack this as best as we possibly can. And I think that from every spot that we have been in today, I think most everybody agrees that we've been able to do that. There may be some in the legislature who disagree right now. I hope we can continue to try to find common ground when it comes to the bigger corrections reform issues that Wisconsin has lagged on over the last 8 years.
And then as far as the implementation of these, each county that got extra, they're kind of going it their own way. Is that what I gathered as well from the press release?
They have the opportunity. The positions they can start filling them on October 1st. I think the pay plan has them being paid for starting October 16th. You heard that at least here in Portage County, the district attorney is ready to do a posting of the job immediately. So these are things, the positions will start to be filled very soon, and the communities affected will start to see the impact of them almost immediately.
But from what I understand, though, as well, some of these might wait a while and wait for the criminal justice graduates to let them have a crack at it as well.
Yeah, anytime you have 60 plus new positions, there are probably some who either can afford to or who want to wait for a new crop of graduates, and that's up to the individuals. That's kind of the epitome of local control or these individual elected officials, the elected DAs in the counties, to be able to make those assessments and their own judgments. And I think the governor and his administration respect that they'll do that as well as they possibly can.
One more then before we let you go. You mentioned you're a baseball guy. I'm a baseball guy. We like sabermetrics. We like the numbers. Okay, you mentioned maybe 600 open cases with just a couple of district attorneys working on those. Add 2 more to that fold. How much does that speed up the process?
Well, I think that probably depends on a number of different factors. Sabermetrics is never a simple matter, but it probably depends on the level of complexity of those cases. What are they for violent crimes? Are they for property crimes? All of the factors that go into that. One of the things that I would say is I was with another district attorney earlier today who inherited a backlog of about 1,800 cases when he was elected back in 2016 and started in 2017, and has been able to whittle that down to less than 100. And that's through his existing operation there. And I think that's through working 60, 70-hour weeks to be able to do that. And I hope that the state, as a partner, what we're doing is going to enable the people who work at the local level to start attacking those things, start getting at those things, but without punishing them, without having them to have to do that at the expense of everything else that's great about being here in Wisconsin. And so I hope that the state is living up to, at long last, its responsibility to making sure that we are a good partner when it comes to public safety.
Anything else we should know then about this before we let you go?
I don't think so. Brewers have 12 games left, and I said when they had 20 games that they had to go 15-5. Now they only have to go 8-4, I think,
right,
in order to get to that. So
absolutely, yeah.